Get ready for the action because we are diving straight into the drama. Former F1 team principal Otmar Szafnauer has revealed the shocking threats he made to his drivers, revealing the intense pressure cooker environment behind the scenes. He confessed exactly what he threatened to do to Esteban Ocon and Sergio Perez when they clashed on the grid, and you will not believe the severity of the situation. Next, dream to the reality of starting from scratch, the corporate battles, and how the team is navigating the steep learning curve on the track. Finally, we break down the immediate results from the Canadian Grand Prix preview for the Cadillac Formula One team. We examine how team principal Graham Loudon and drivers Chico Perez and Valtteri Bottas are building on their Miami momentum, detailing the new upgrades they introduced, and what the team is focused on for the challenging Montreal venue. Don't miss this full breakdown, and make sure you subscribe now for all the latest F1 news. Former Formula One team principal Otmar Szafnauer has revealed the extreme measures he took to ensure fair racing between two prominent drivers, Esteban Ocon and Sergio Perez, who were teammates at Force India and later Racing Point. In a candid discussion on the High Performance Racing podcast, Szafnauer detailed the intense rivalry between the pair and the confrontations that arose between them. Szafnauer, who served as Chief Operating Officer for Force India before becoming team principal after the team's acquisition, recounted how the clashes between Ocon and Perez became persistent. When asked about the pre-race interactions and what he would say to the drivers on the grid, Szafnauer delivered a stark admission regarding the tension. He stated that while he would typically offer a handshake and encouragement, the situation with Ocon and Perez was different. Szafnauer admitted to issuing a threat to break the deadlock. "I'd say, you run into him. I'm going to beat the S** out of you because I'm a lot bigger than you are." Szafnauer explained that previous attempts to manage the situation by qualifying the drivers close together had failed. To enforce separation, the team implemented a strict protocol. If a driver broke the gearbox seal, they would immediately receive a 5-place grid penalty. "So we just told them to. Look, this happens again, I'm cutting the seal. You're moving back 5 places. Because how else do you move them? You can't artificially move back." When pressed on whether he physically assaulted them, Szafnauer clarified that his actions were purely psychological. Not physically, but more mentally. It was just a threat. The threat worked. Former Formula One team principal Otmar Szafnauer has revealed the intense measures he took to manage a highly competitive and often contentious rivalry between two of his drivers, Esteban Ocon and Sergio Perez. Speaking on the High Performance Racing podcast, Szafnauer detailed the friction between the two teammates, who raced together at Force India and later at Racing Point from 2017 to 2018. The clash between Ocon and Perez was significant, leading to multiple on-track incidents. Szafnauer recounted the escalating tension and the drastic steps taken to prevent these clashes from disrupting the team's performance. When discussing the rivalry, Szafnauer described the situation as particularly challenging. He admitted to making explicit threats to force the drivers to respect each other's space and racing lines. He stated, "I'd say, you run into him. I'm going to beat the S** out of you because I'm a lot bigger than you are." However, when questioned about any physical altercations, Szafnauer clarified that his actions were purely psychological. Not physically, but more mentally. It was just a threat. The threat worked. To enforce better separation, the team implemented strict protocols. When drivers qualified too closely, Szafnauer instructed them to change their position by cutting the gearbox seal, which resulted in a 5-place grid penalty. He explained that this was the only way to artificially move the drivers apart, as they could not be moved otherwise. Cadillac's Formula One debut, branded as the Cadillac F1 team, has been characterized as a challenging but operationally significant entry into the highly competitive grid. The team's foundation traces back to a long-standing ambition by American motorsport royalty Michael Andretti to secure a spot on Formula One. Following setbacks, including a near-acquisition attempt with Sauber, Andretti sought a new path, partnering with General Motors, GM, to enter under the Andretti Cadillac banner. The final approval for the team's entry in late 2024 came after navigating complex corporate politics, with Dan Torres and GM taking a dominant role, leading to the team dropping the Andretti name for its official debut. The debut season has presented a stark contrast between on-track performance and behind-the-scenes achievements. On the stopwatch, Cadillac has experienced the expected growing pains of a new entrant, consistently qualifying at the back of the grid and struggling to match the raw aerodynamic downforce of established teams. Drivers have publicly urged the team to rapidly improve performance. However, the operational achievements have drawn significant respect within the paddock. The team successfully managed a massive logistical undertaking, rapidly building infrastructure, recruiting hundreds of top-tier personnel, and establishing a complex, multi-continental parts-tracking supply chain. Avoiding major mechanical failures during their initial races has been highlighted as a major success for a nascent organization. Cadillac leadership is emphasizing patience, framing the current season as an extended testing phase focused on building a solid foundation rather than immediate results. CEO Dan Torres has countered criticism by stressing the difficulty of the sport, asserting that establishing 2 reliable cars on the grid in such a short timeframe is a significant accomplishment. The focus is now firmly set on long-term development and establishing a steep trajectory for progress. Noi Dung Kai Tight. Cadillac is set to take on a significant challenge at the Canadian Grand Prix this weekend, arriving at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the 2nd North American race in a row and the 3rd sprint of the season. The 14-turn, 4.361-kilometer Montreal venue, characterized by its low-speed corners, high-speed straights, and narrow margin for error, demands immediate adaptation from the Cadillac Formula One team, especially with a 23-lap sprint preceding Sunday's Grand Prix. /N following a successful debut home Grand Prix in Miami just 3 weeks prior, the American squad showcased strong reliability. Securing double car finishes in both the 19-lap sprint and the 57-lap Miami Grand Prix, highlighting the continued dependability of the Mach 26. The team's recent performance was bolstered by the introduction of a major upgrade package in Miami, which successfully increased aerodynamic load and overall car performance, allowing drivers like Checo Perez and Valtteri Bottas to challenge rival teams, with Perez nearing a qualifying second-round appearance. /N for the Canadian Grand Prix. The team is preparing a further set of enhancements, including new front brake drums, diffuser trim and winglets, and front torsion bars, specifically aimed at improving the car's ability to manage steep curbs characteristic of Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. /N Graham Loden, team principal, expressed confidence in the team's momentum. He noted the strong operational performance from Miami, citing 2 pit stops among the top 10 fastest of the weekend. The goal in Montreal, which is a very different circuit from Miami, is to build on that momentum and keep making such progress, Loden stated. N Checo Perez echoed this sentiment, focusing on refinement. Miami was a very enjoyable weekend. We had improved pace from the start, and we showed our ability to bring major upgrades that delivered on track. Now it's about refining what we have and extracting the real potential in all elements. If we can do this, I believe we'll be closer to the pack in front, Perez commented. N Valtteri Bottas acknowledged the increased difficulty of the Canadian venue. This weekend will be a new challenge for us as the track is very technical. The walls are very close, and we will have to get up to speed quickly because of the sprint format. But Montreal is a venue that I really enjoy, and I've performed well at in the past. Bottas added, looking forward to continuing their progress.